Alright, June is here, and with it comes those wild trade rumors that pop up every offseason. This time, the talk revolves around a blockbuster idea involving two-star receivers, and yes, it's the Chicago Bears and Miami Dolphins making headlines. The notion? A potential swap of Tyreek Hill for DJ Moore. Sounds crazy, right? But let's dig into the details and break down why this idea even surfaced and what it would mean for both teams. First off, Tyreek Hill's contract situation is the spark that ignited this entire conversation. After June 1st, his deal suddenly becomes tradable without the usual financial complications, making teams start thinking about whether they can take on that hefty price tag. The Dolphins, who have been weighing their options with Hill, might see this as a way to clear cap space and reset their roster. The question then becomes, which team will be willing to absorb Tyreek's enormous salary? Enter the Bears, a team that has been looking to shake things up and surprisingly has shown a willingness to spend more aggressively recently. But when you look closer, the money side of this trade is tricky. Every team operates under different financial constraints. Not just what's on paper with cap space, but actual cash flow allowed by owners each season. Some teams, like the Eagles, have nearly limitless funds to throw around, while others have to be more cautious. The Bears have traditionally been cautious spenders, even if they've loosened the purse strings a bit lately. Bringing in Tyreek Hill means taking on an additional $26 million in salary for this year alone, and that's a massive commitment, especially when you consider all the other moves they've made recently. Now, on the football side, the Bears are already loaded at receiver. So the only way a deal involving Hill makes sense is if they send DJ Moore to Miami as part of the package. Looking at the numbers, trading Moore before June 1st would cost a ton of dead cap money, about $60 million, which is simply not feasible. After June 1st, the picture changes dramatically. Moore's dead cap hits drops to around $4 million, and trading him then saves the Bears about $21 million in cap space. For Miami, trading away Hill would save nearly $15 million. But they'd have to eat about $13 million in dead money. It's a lot of financial gymnastics that both teams would have to agree on, making the logistics of this trade very complicated. On paper, the cap hits work, so it's not impossible. But it's rare to see such high-priced player swaps. Trades involving big-name quarterbacks like Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford are few and far between for the same reasons. These contracts are just too big and complicated. So while this trade is plausible financially, from a strategic and team-building perspective, it raises many questions. Would the Bears actually want to bring in Tyreek Hill? Let's be honest, it's unlikely. His contract for next year is massive and probably unsustainable. At 31 years old, Hill is still a great player but is past his absolute prime. The Dolphins may want to move him to avoid the monster. Cap hit looming in 2026, which could be over $50 million. For any team considering taking on Hill, it would likely be a short-term rental unless he agrees to a significant pay cut or restructures his contract. Looking at Hill's production last year, it wasn't up to the elite standards we've come to expect from him. He still put up solid numbers, 80 catches, nearly 1,000 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But the explosive plays and consistent game-changing moments were down. Age and style of play matter here. Hill's game relies heavily on speed, quick changes of direction, and explosiveness, all of which can decline with age. The idea that he will return to his peak form with over 1,700 yards in a season seems unlikely, even if he can still deliver solid performances. There's also the issue of baggage. Hill has had some off-field distractions. Over the years, legal issues, controversial social media activity that might not align with what the Bears are looking for. Their current general manager is known for being cautious with character risks, preferring players who are steady and reliable both on and off the field. Hill's talent is undeniable and could elevate the offense. But would the team be willing to handle potential distractions? On the other side, DJ Moore has had a somewhat mixed season last year, with questions raised about his effort and consistency. There were moments where it seemed he might have checked out on plays, which raised eyebrows among coaches and analysts alike. Still, he's only 28, signed to a major extension recently, and many believe he fits well into the Bears' offensive system. The new coaching regime seems to have faith in Moore's ability to bounce back and contribute meaningfully. If we compare the two players, Hill's peak is clearly higher, with years where he was arguably the best receiver in the league. Moore has never reached that elite level, but the hope is that he continues to grow and improve with the Bears. Age plays a role here too. Moore is younger and likely has more room to develop, while Hill is entering the twilight of his career. From a pure football perspective, trading Moore for Hill doesn't seem to make much sense unless the Bears are fully committed to a win-now approach and believe Hill can still be a game changer. Financially and strategically, it's a huge gamble with many risks. So, would you make this trade? Swap a slightly younger, more consistent receiver for a star who still has incredible talent but comes with a massive contract and some off-field concerns? It's a tough call. The financial strain alone might be enough to keep the Bears away. Plus, the Dolphins might prefer to unload Hill's contract entirely rather than swap it for another big deal. Trades of this magnitude and complexity don't happen often because of the myriad factors involved. Meanwhile, the Bears continue to develop their roster, focusing on building chemistry and consistency. Moore remains a key part of that plan, and the team will likely give him a chance to prove he can live up to his contract and expectations. Meanwhile, Hill's future is uncertain, and the Dolphins' moves in the coming months will tell us a lot about where he lands next. The reality is, the NFL offseason is full of these fascinating what-if scenarios, but most of them never come to fruition. Still, the chatter about Tyreek Hill and DJ Moore highlights how complex roster building is at the highest level, balancing talent, contracts, team culture, and future planning all at once. It's a delicate dance, and every move has huge ripple effects. What's clear is that both players bring value, but in very different ways, and both teams will weigh their options carefully as they prepare for the upcoming season. Whether or not this trade ever happens, it's a prime example of the intricate chess game NFL front offices play during the offseason. The Bears and Dolphins will keep exploring their paths forward, but for now, fans can only speculate and enjoy the drama that June always seems to bring. Continuing from where we left off, the more you think about this trade idea, the more the complications start to pile up. The Chicago Bears bringing in Tyreek Hill isn't just a financial question or a talent evaluation. It's a whole package deal that includes chemistry, culture, and long-term strategy. Even if the Bears had the money to make it work, they would have to seriously consider how Hill's arrival would impact the locker room and the offensive identity that the new coaching staff is trying to build. The Bears have invested heavily in DJ Moore, signing him to a lucrative extension just last year. That shows a level of commitment to him and the belief that he can be a foundational piece of their offense. Moving on from a player with that kind of investment so soon would be surprising, especially when you consider that Moore is still relatively young and entering what should be the prime of his career. It's one thing to trade a player who's hit a ceiling or whose contract is expiring soon, but Moore's situation is different. The Bears would be giving up a potentially ascending talent for a star who is likely on the decline. From a football standpoint, Hill is a remarkable player. His ability to change the game with his speed and agility is unmatched. When healthy and motivated, he can turn a simple catch into a highlight reel play that shifts momentum instantly. However, the last season showed signs that he might not be the same explosive weapon he once was. Injuries, age, and changing roles within the Dolphins' offense have limited his impact. While he still has plenty to offer, the expectation that he will carry the Bears' receiving core to new heights might be overly optimistic. Another layer to this is the coaching connection. Eric Bieniemy, former offensive coordinator for the Chiefs where Hill became a superstar, is now on the Bears staff. That link makes the idea of acquiring Hill somewhat more plausible from a schematic perspective. Coaches often like to bring in players they have experience with, knowing how to maximize their strengths. Still, even with that familiarity, the question remains whether Hill fits the Bears' long-term plans or just serves as a short-term splash. The Dolphins, on the other hand, have their own motivations. They are facing a salary cap crunch and a difficult decision on how to move forward with their roster. Trading Hill could give them valuable cap relief and flexibility to retool the team around younger players. But would taking on DJ Moore's contract really be an improvement? Moore's deal is significant and may not represent a true financial or football upgrade for Miami, Plus, they would be swapping one talented receiver for another with similar age and production profiles. In many ways, this trade would come down to risk tolerance. The Bears would be betting that Hill still has enough elite talent left to justify the cost and distractions. They'd also be gambling on the idea that Moore's recent struggles were fixable and that the coaching staff can unlock Hill's full potential again. Meanwhile, the Dolphins would risk losing a player with Hill's unique game-changing ability for someone who, while very good, hasn't demonstrated the same explosive upside. This trade, if it ever happened, would have ripple effects beyond just the two receivers. It could signal a shift in how the Bears view their offensive identity, possibly moving toward a quicker, more dynamic passing game that leverages Hill's skill set. Conversely, it might indicate Miami's willingness to embrace a more balanced or even conservative approach, focusing on roster flexibility and depth over star power. It's also worth noting the fan reaction and media narrative surrounding such a move. Tyreek Hill is a household name with a high profile, which means his arrival in Chicago would generate buzz and excitement. But it also comes with high expectations and scrutiny. If Hill underperforms or the team struggles, the backlash could be significant, especially given the financial investment and the loss of DJ Moore, who many fans have grown to appreciate. On the other hand, if the Bears keep Moore and he steps up under the new coaching regime, that decision would look like a smart, patient move. Building a team around younger talent, fostering growth, and avoiding expensive gambles might be the better path to sustained success. In the end, trades like this are rare because they're difficult to balance financially, strategically, and culturally. The NFL's salary cap rules, combined with the need to maintain a cohesive locker room and competitive roster, make blockbuster receiver swaps uncommon. While the rumor mill and trade speculation always provide plenty of entertainment during the offseason, most of these ideas don't materialize into real deals. For the Bears, this means continuing to develop their current roster, putting trust in DJ Moore, and focusing on building a strong, well-rounded team. For the Dolphins, it means deciding if moving on from Tyreek Hill is worth the cost and finding the right partner if they do. Ultimately, fans should keep an eye on how both teams manage their cap space, evaluate player performance during training camp, and make decisions as the regular season approaches. Trades like the one involving Hill and Moore might stay just a fascinating what if, but they highlight the complex balancing act NFL teams perform to stay competitive while managing financial and personnel challenges. It's an intriguing scenario that fuels off-season discussion, but at this point, the scales tip against the Bears making such a risky move. The long-term implications and the price tag make it a tough sell, even if the talent involved is undeniably exciting. Instead, Chicago seems more likely to focus on internal growth and gradual improvement rather than swinging for the fences with a trade like this. That said, the NFL offseason is full of surprises and nothing is ever completely off the table. We'll see how things unfold in the coming months, but for now, the trade of Tyreek Hill for DJ Moore remains an interesting idea, more suited for debate than reality. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most surprising developments of the NFL offseason, rumors are swirling around Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson and his stance on running back DeAndre Swift. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Johnson has allegedly made it clear behind closed doors, he's not playing for me anymore. Though no official statement has been released by the team, the reported comment has ignited speculation throughout the league and media circles about Swift's future in Chicago. The running back, who joined the Bears with high expectations, struggled with injuries and inconsistent performances last season, leading some to question whether he fits into Johnson's long-term plans. Insiders suggest that Johnson's remark reflects deep frustration with Swift's reliability and possibly his attitude within the locker room. Others, however, believe the comment might be more about sending a message, attempting to light a fire under a player who has shown flashes of brilliance but has yet to consistently meet expectations. While the Bears organization has remained silent on the matter. The rumor has rapidly gained traction, especially given Johnson's reputation as a coach who prioritizes discipline and accountability. Analysts are already debating potential landing spots for Swift should the Bears decide to part ways with a talented but enigmatic running back. It's worth noting that off-season chatter often intensifies beyond reality, and this could simply be a case of emotions running high after a disappointing season. Yet with the NFL draft approaching and teams reshaping their rosters, the possibility of Swift being on a trading block or even released cannot be dismissed. Fans are left wondering if this is truly the end of the road for Swift in Chicago or merely a temporary rift between coach and player. For now, it remains just a rumor, but one that could have significant implications for both the Bears and DeAndre Swift's career moving forward. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.